Welcome, everybody, to the Made in Dreams podcast. Welcome back. It's been a little while since we've actually done anything with Christmas and New Year, so hope everybody had a nice holiday. It's a new year, new podcast, and I'm doing the intro. Can you believe it? So here I am, James Wilson, your host, and today with my co-host and our guest of the day, Mighty Vicious. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Your energy is a little lacking, but explain to the people why.
Well, you see, I was really looking forward to the holidays. I was looking forward to having Christmas and the New Year. I haven't taken any time off all over work this year because it's been too busy. But I decided to take a week off over Christmas. Thought, I'll take my time, relax and rest and play some games and, enjoy myself. No, but I caught the flu all over Christmas. Spent Christmas Day in bed, sleeping, fighting off a flu. Didn't even have Christmas dinner. It literally was an effort to get up and open presents. And then it was back to bed. So yeah, I'm still recovering from this shitty flu, and it's really annoying because I was really looking forward to having the energy today for the podcast. But I'm trying my best. I'm here. I'm doing what I need to do for the people. So it's all good.
You're doing great. You didn't give me a nickname. We're marking off Dixon.
Well, we'll
All
see. Maybe next week there'll be nicknames, be more energy. Hopefully, I'll be feeling a lot better. So we'll see from there. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. It's great to be back. It's great to see everybody in chat. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to a regular scheduled podcast every week because I've missed doing it. I really have. It's felt weird. Like for the last couple of weeks not doing the podcast, it's felt really strange. So I'm glad to be back. And, it's a new year. So I thought I would start off today's questions with what would you expect to see from Dreams this year?
What would I expect to see from Dreams? Well,
Mm.
let me tell you, Jamie James. No. Let me tell you, I really feel like what we'll see from Dreams is Dreams VR. Dreams VR is like the biggie. It's the biggie.
Yeah.
So,
So you think we're going to see Dreams VR before we see multiplayer?
I honestly, and I've said this for a while now on the show, I believe that we're going to probably see a few things are going to coincide with the VR release. That's my conspiracy theory. I have a few that I want to go over today. But
Okay. Right.
yeah, there's, I think it's when I've bet for a long time that there's going to be like the PS5 update, PSVR 2, and multiplayer released at the same time. Like we're gonna get all the updates at once, and
that's what I was gonna say. Because, in order to have the VR update, we first would need a PS5 native version because obviously PSVR 2 is exclusively for PS5. So with that in mind, you would need a PS5 version of Dreams in order to have a VR version of Dreams for PSVR 2. So by that logic, are you saying we're going to have all three in the same year? We're going to have VR, PS5 update, and multiplayer?
That's what I think.
Wow.
And I don't want to put too much on Media Molecule to pull this off.
Big plate.
but I feel like I talked about how I feel like there's going to be like a second reveal of Dreams.
Mm.
Well, I feel like that's it. Like I feel like the multiplayer is the time to do that. But as for those who follow me on Twitter, like at Mighty Vicious, you saw me start putting out a few tweets because IGN did some things that or didn't do some things that I'm just like, there has to be another conspiracy theory happening. And so, like I said, I'll get to that later once we go over the origin questions and all that stuff. So we'll get to it. I have my conspiracies. Y'all know me. I'm a conspiracy guy. I love them. It's all great stories to be told.
Continuing on then with the whole VR section of this then. So what do you expect they will do with it? Do you think they're going to incorporate any new features to Dreams that will benefit from PSVR 2, or do you reckon it's just going to be simple as accepting it and adding it to the game?
I say just accepting and adding it. They don't need to do anything. Like as far as things that people that are in the Dreams community, and please, community in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like everybody's at a at a place in dreams where they're like, okay, these are the few things that we would like to see added. And I don't think any of that goes with VR except for possibly multiplayer. Everything else is just kind of like a, the game is at a good place. The creation engine is at a great place. Like, there's no reason to try to stack anything on it other than just maybe the whole update for PS5 and then move on to, just making it VR.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. See, I would disagree because I would say that there is a huge advantage to mess with the controllers and stuff with this new VR because it's completely different, obviously, than the original VR headset that we've had. And one of the main features that these new controllers have is obviously the adaptive triggers that is the same technology that's in the DualSense 5. And I was thinking about it, and they could really use that to their advantage with, let's just say, how heavy a paint stroke would be. You know, you press it lightly with the trigger and it does a very light paint stroke, or you press heavier and you have that resistance in the trigger to help justify how much pressure you're giving to a paint stroke to be
they
able
already have
to.
that.
Yeah, but you could do it even more with these adaptive triggers, like it just
Oh, I
incorporating
get
all
you.
of the technology that is there. That's what I mean. Where you just do a simple patch and boom, you've got PSVR 2, or would you rather them take their time and add all these quality of life features from the get-go for the new technology that's there?
I mean, for me personally, I think there's just things that people would want more. And therefore I could understand them pushing it back. If they're
Mm,
like, okay, we will implement support for, the trigger features and all that stuff, but it's kind of like a PS5 right now. Like right now, you just got to get them in people's hands, and that's how I
mm,
feel about the
mm,
VR and the PS5 update and multiplayer. It's like one of those things where it's just like, other than exportation, that's like the update and multiplayer are like the things people want the most.
mm,
Like other than exportation, all right, and so it's just like they can always add in. I feel like that's a minor update that could be added after, like, because I don't think there's going to be like a switch over for functionality. Like they already got PSVR 1 to work on Dream, so it's not going to be that big of a thing. It's just, a simple simple relatively update because it's still just VR. So I mean, I don't see that as being like a real
mm,
big thing. Like I feel like as soon as they have it, they might have to debug something, but ultimately it would just kind of be like and now you can do it. Kind of like how VR was. Like
mm,
it was just like okay, well, hey guys, now you can do it. And that was it. So I get it. Yeah, they could implement a bunch of things feature wise as far as, the adaptive triggers and all that. But I personally, I've been waiting for PSVR 2 to get into using, you know, the next generation of the Move controllers, because as I told
mm.
y'all, I had trouble with
I
the other
mean,
ones. You know,
yeah, these are far above and beyond in
yeah.
regards to how they're going to work, like way better.
So I feel like that's kind of, where we are. It's just VR just being implemented, period, is a win. Getting the adaptive triggers, that'll be cool, but it's not something that I'd personally like. It'd be nice to have it, as it'd be nice to have a lot of things, but is it absolutely necessary? I don't think so. Not off the bat. Not if it takes time away from something else.
Hmm. And
So,
with VR, like this new VR is gaining a lot of excitement now. A lot of people are really excited for it because it's sort of standing up to the plate of actual VR headsets because PSVR, let's be honest, it wasn't in the best terms of quality. It was only 1080p, it was very blurry, the controllers wasn't that great, so that turned a lot of people off. With the announcement of the specifications for the headset, it's 4K, 120 FPS, it's got 110 degrees field of view, so this is stepping up to the likes of the Vive Pro 2, for instance. So, do you think that more people will be interested in VR this time around, which in turn will make Dreams VR more popular?
if they know, I've really, you know what? Screw it. I'll go into it now. The IGN thing. I
Yeah,
posted
all right,
about
let's
it
hear
on
it.
I posted about it on Twitter, and I went onto their sheets. I've DM'd people. I sent an email to IGN. For the life, like, they were talking about PSVR 2, and they were talking about games that used VR, like PSVR 1, and they did not even mention Dreams. And I know y'all are always like, Dreams gets recognition, it gets, game awards and stuff like that from different organizations and blah 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 blah. I have to believe something's going on. I have to believe that there's like some sort of embargo or something
So,
between MM,
so
like MM and IGN or like other places, because it's literally like it doesn't exist. I mean, they just like I think there's been one video where they talked about the future of um PlayStation like first party studios. And then
mhm,
and they mentioned Media Molecule, like they're still working away with a community, blah 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 blah, and over. It was literally like 4 seconds. And
mm.
then they mentioned it on the podcast Beyond, which is the PlayStation podcast, once. I watch it every week. Like, they mentioned it once in like the last year and a half, 2 years. I have to believe that they're because it doesn't make sense to me otherwise. But I have to believe that there's something going on where it's like, hey, don't talk about us right now. We're still gearing up. We're going to have a second release where we're going to push forward a bunch of stuff. Wait till then. Because if not, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I know everybody liked Half-Life Alyx and all that, but for something that's so specifically PlayStation to literally not come up at all, like, at all. Like, how are you going to talk about VR on PlayStation? I mean, PlayStation has a few VR games, but not many.
Mm.
How do you just omit it? Like, it just seems weird to me, just that how much
And
it feels purposefully omitted,
yeah,
because
I
there's no
see
way
where
you
you're
can't do
going
it.
with it. Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from, and the fact that it's not mentioned at all is unjustified. But at the same time, you have to consider that these big major news outlets like IGN and GameSpot, Kotaku, all they're interested in is the future. Because that's what gets clicks, that's what gets views. What's the next God of War going to be like? What's the next game Ben Studios is making like? That's all they care about, is what's coming next. And with Media Molecule, they know that their primary core focus for the next 10 years is going to be Dreams. So for them, from a news point of view, I would say it's pretty much a dead end for them. They're like, well, there's nothing exciting to get people excited about. For one, the player base is small. They're concentrating on this one thing for the next 10 years. Let's focus on the biggest studios that Sony has that's going to get more clicks and views, and we can monetize that for more money. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to understand that this is a place where clicks are king. And,
So let's flip that on its head. Let's flip that on its head for a minute. Let's say that is the case. If someone truly paid attention, as far as from their staff, to Dreams, you couldn't have more press lines. You have dreamers who are being hired by the studio that made the game. That's giving players jobs. You have users who are working on previs for Hollywood movies with AAA actors. If you know, now maybe some people don't know, but you have people who have done work for worldwide known symphonies in Dreams. You have people who are doing you have people who are doing entire animated series in Dreams that were featured at what was it? Gamescom.
the
Or
Gamescom, yeah.
yeah, like you have a never-ending rollout of information that people who love games and content can go to at any moment. All the reasons we say we love Dreams Like, and all the things I've talked about, how it's YouTube, Netflix, like all of it put together in one. It's for those reasons that I'm just like, there has to be something. Because it literally, even following your concept of the 24-hour news cycle, which isn't just in gaming, it's the way media is done anyway. Even in the realm of 24/7 like news cycle, you never have a lack of content. Ever. So I just can't. Like I said, this is all because what did Jim Simpson? Jen said I was. Oh God, what did she call me? It was a tweet on Christmas. Oh God, what do you call those dudes that are like have those mega churches and oh God, I can't remember. Anyway, it was perfect. Basically, a religious zealot for dreams. That's what she was calling me. No, not that. But and I was just and I was like, hey, I'll be it. Like I take it as a compliment personally because I and I think people need to understand, like, if it sounds like, I sound like a fanboy, okay? Let's just put it like that. I sound like a fanboy for dreams. But I think what is perfect of like why I feel comfortable in that role, and even if it's not like, even if people see it as a negative, it's like, oh, you're overshooting your case. I'm not good at it. Like this, I'm pumping up something that I'm not even equipped really well. Like this is my first time dabbling in anything sculpting, like 3D sculpting, game making, like all of it. I don't have experience in that. I'm a old school paper and pencil kind of dude. Like that's me. So it's like I just know that it's something that if I were say 10 years old, I would say when I was 5, but if I was 10 years old and something like Dreams came out, I would have been the happiest child on this planet. And that's why Dreams means so much to me. Because it is like, let's throw out all the stuff I said about the AAA Hollywood actors and the previs and working with symphonies and big companies and doing promotion for movies. Let's throw all that out. You throw all that out the door, not to mention that no other game in the history of console or PC really has ever done that. Let's throw out all that groundbreaking stuff. Even if you throw that out, you still have a tool that's so good that you have people who worked in all these industries, in television, in film, saying, I hate going back to work in Maya and Unreal and all that. I hate going back to work on that stuff when I have to for my job because Dreams is just so easy. It's so much better. It's so much more intuitive. That means you have the industry professionals. The people that you would normally have, not just the loud mofos like me on the internet. That means you have the people who are doing it, looking back at what you've done on a console and saying, I'd rather use yours than this stuff that has been the industry standard for the last decade and a half at least. So I get super passionate. I know I sound like I speak in absolutes a lot of the times. It's just the way I speak when I get passionate. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. But it just seems so wild to me that I think somebody's playing it. It's so wild that I think somebody has to be playing 4D chess because otherwise it just doesn't make sense to me.
So you think this is all part of a much bigger plan in terms of everything?
It has to be. It has to be. Like it's gotten to that point where it's like, unless I'm taking crazy pills, because no one else seems to have as much fervor as me about it. So somebody must know something that I don't know. I don't know everything. I'm not a know-it-all.
I mean, it is extremely plausible. Like the case that you're making is extremely plausible. They've gone to all these massive media outlets and said, "Look, we're cooking up something big. Just hold off. Don't say nothing about dreams. Nothing about Media Molecule. Don't say anything until we're ready." And then boom, we're just going to release everything at once and blow people's minds.
I
I
mean,
mean, even on like even on PlayStation's website, like they've updated their list of studios now and like all the stuff that they're working on, and Media Molecule's just there in the corner, like yeah, they're just doing stuff. So like even from Sony's own end, they're not bigging up Media Molecule. So maybe there's some truth to what you're saying. Maybe they're gearing up for something huge.
it's yeah, it like I said. And I mean, I'll go, like I said, I'll go more into this when we go over like my bio. And we catch y'all up to date on who I am, other than the fat black guy that screams into a mic every Friday. But yeah, it's Jet Yeti says it's really annoying that I'm trying to get someone to play Dreams and actually create stuff, but he won't because he says it's not industry standard, and he says he doesn't want to because he's bad at it. I don't. Where did people get this idea? And believe me, I know there's some suffrage. There's some suffrage here, okay? But an imposter syndrome and everything else. But nothing is easy.
Nothing that is worth having is easy.
Unless you want something stupid. Which, unless you want something stupid, it's not easy. Hell, getting a job ain't even easy. And that's after however many years you went to school for it, or trade school or whatever. Getting a job ain't even easy. Like, I don't know. Like, that person, this is what you do, Jake Yeti. And that person probably will hate me. Okay? But you could tell him I said it.
It wouldn't be the first.
It wouldn't be the first, because I know some of y'all really don't like me. But it's okay. So when he says that, because he's bad at it or it's not industry standard, tell him then he must not want to create.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't make a difference what it is. As long as it offers all the tools that you need to do what you want to do, then what is the excuse?
Every other thing that can be remotely compared to Dreams is literally changing the way they do things to be more Dreams-like. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that's happening that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. Like, I mean, yeah, Blender already had like somewhat of the, well, not somewhat, but a complicated but still not as streamlined version of node-based like information entering and how things work. But they're simplifying it even more, and it's starting to look through their newest updates, starting to look a lot like Dreams.
Yeah, and you can see that Dreams look over the top of it.
Yeah. Then you have some of the sculpting ones. All of a sudden, they're not worried about what is it? Vertices and shit. They're just augmenting shape. Yeah. Like they're taking away and I'm gonna give y'all something. Dreams made me better at Blender.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people that, the skills that they've learned from Dreams have been massively influenced in the next program that they've used. Like there is so much that traverses over from Dreams into these other traditional programs that at first they had no idea how to learn it and how to get into it and jump into. But from their experience with Dreams being so easy, they've gained that base knowledge that replicates over into these other programs. And that really shows something to Media Molecule, how they've managed to take what is a complex, overbearing situation when you're just starting out and making it simple and easy to use.
Yeah, because the reason I say you must not, like, quote unquote, you must not want to create is because there's only one real thing you can do. And take it from somebody who's never had a leg in, okay? Never got my foot in the door anywhere I wanted to. Sometimes you just got to do what you can with what you have. And in the time that he's spending probably trying to work within other things, even if he's proficient in those other things, he might be proficient as hell and might not need Dreams and feel more comfortable. Cool. There's other industry professionals that disagree with him, but it is what it is. All I know is that I'm in the position, and I know a few other people are as well, that you're really just doing what you can do, because everything you can show now makes the final product, even if it's not in dreams, better. You show the product, rebuild the product. You're not rebuilding from scratch. I mean, even Acert said it when he was on here last. Like, having to go through and recreate something in another engine, it didn't feel like starting from scratch. And it's just, I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, if I'm gonna put it like this, like I said, if people can come over from TV production and film and they're like, yo, I prefer using this. And then you have people like Gianni Turismo on YouTube who literally takes his creations from dreams and composites them into live action shot film. You can't use that? Like, it's just wild to me, personally.
I think what it comes down to is there is still this stigma around dreams and it being, oh, well, it's just a console thing and, oh, it's flecky and blurry. I think all the stigma that resides around dreams and what it is and all the cliches and the memes and stuff still is the spotlight for people that don't know what dreams is. They just see dreams as this petty little attempt to give people creativity on a console. And the fact that they're not inside this community and they're not seeing what people are doing with this software, you know, that's the reason why they have that perception of dreams. And, you know, that's where I think this huge update will change that. They really need to start showing the world outside of the Dreamiverse what people are doing. There needs to be a push to say, look what people are creating, so that it can turn the minds of those that think it's just a simplistic piece of software to say, oh, wow, you know what? People are actually making decent stuff with this, you know.
And there's nothing more that needs to really be said other than that. Do you want something that makes your job easier? I mean, I know a lot of people lately. I've been getting a lot of voice gigs through Dreams, and I know people think I'm blowing them off, but like when I tell y'all that I don't have as much time as you think I do, I'm not like beefing up, like pumping up the numbers. I'm not lying to you. Like when I get on Dreams, it's specifically to do exactly what I'm getting on to do. That's how much time I have. And when that time's done, I'm gone. And I might be gone for 3 days. I might be gone for the whole week if my schedule's busy. Like, you know, but even I can fumble my way through some things to, you know, try to get something out or at least have something I can post on Twitter, and I enjoy it so much. And so it's just like, I don't know, if somebody has to be like, I understand if you don't know what Dreams is. We've talked about it many times before, that like why people might not know what it is. But when someone's telling you and they're giving a glowing review, and like if you have to be convinced to have fun, I feel like there's something else we're talking about.
Yeah, you're starting wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
just take me for example. Like, I mean, me for example, like something that happened recently with me in Dreams, and like I said, I was waiting for James to segue into the tell us who you are about yourself, but he didn't. Don't you dare!
Question. It's my third question.
But like something that I've like had to deal with recently is the fact that like I have all these things I want to do in Dreams, and I have all these stories that I want to tell, and all this stuff that I like don't even have the knowledge to pull off, but I'm like slowly chipping away at it. But like, you know, it like Dreams got too serious for me, and it kind of shut me down. And it was just like, okay, pull it back, have some fun. Just let it all go. You're not working on anything. You're not doing anything crazy. Just have fun. And that's where you get that pixel thing that semi-pixel, because I suck at that too, but semi-pixel thing that I put out that I was like, you know what? That's fun. I don't even know what that character's for. You'll see it later when I throw up the reel. But like, yeah, it's just like, you know, pulling back, not rushing, like learning. I even got into the 2D template which kind of spawned this whole thing. And it was just like, let me look at this simplified logic and try to make just a little run through. It looks terrible, guys. But once again, the clip is in the reel. But I laughed my ass off. I laughed my
That's it.
ass off.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You've got to have fun while you're doing this, otherwise you're losing the core of what Dreams was made for. It was to make this stuff fun. So the fact that you're doing that is you're using Dreams exactly how it's meant to be used. It's perfect.
Yeah. Let me see. I see my name in chat. I want to make sure I'm not missing too much here. Mighty Vicious can actually make some voice lines for his Dreams puppet one day. Yep, one day. one day I'll do it.
You will voice yourself.
But that's the thing. Like, that's of getting back to the voice lines. That's exactly why I was talking about, like, with voice lines. For instance, like, if someone has it set up where they're like, these are all your lines. If they do that and give it to me on a slip, I will set aside, like, I'll be like, okay, I have an hour. I'll sit down with those lines, knock them all out, and send them off to the person and be done. It took me one day, and it didn't take me much time at all. But I had to have that time. So, yeah, that's it. So, anybody, if you're out there, you want me to do voice lines, write up a Word document, say what lines you want. When I get around to it, like, I will knock it all out in, like, a 30-minute time period and send it to you, but I don't know when that 30 minutes is. That's basically the catch. So, anyway, I'll let you get back to your questions. We kind of ran off the.
So, with that in mind, your personal journey with Dreams, if you will. Then, you originally came into Dreams to do short film. You ended up moving into game with Dino, and then you started doing voice acting with the community. Your journey with Dreams has been very progressive. And what I want to know is did you expect your experience with Dreams to end up the way it has? You've become sort of a pillar of the community with this podcast, and you originally went into Dreams. Well, I do. I think so. I think you're a pillar of the community. But anyway, back to the question. You went into Dreams originally, with your one goal set in mind. You wanted to make a good place to die. You was going in solo to make this short film, and you didn't want to look at anything else. It was just, let's make this thing. And like, you have changed so much as a person and a creator, since all of this has begun. So how do you feel that's that's changed your journey?
Well, I mean, yeah, as you kind of went through, I wanted to do A Good Place to Die and realized that I was happy with it because, given everything that went wrong, I was happy with it. But yeah, after that, and, while, because of the data corruption and all that stuff and everything that went wrong with that project, which was the first project, I kind of had to snuggle up to Dreams again after that, like, she burned me real bad. And okay, so someone asked, so I'll run through it really quickly.
Give us a history of everything.
Okay. So, to start at the very beginning, I got Little Big Planet, the very first one, and I was in college and didn't really have time to play it. But I loved everything about it from the first trailer that was released, and I saw the things people were doing with it, and making their levels and all that stuff, and it was just amazing. But I couldn't experience it to its fullest because I didn't have time, and the same remained for 2, 3. Just didn't have time. But I saw Dreams. I had heard about it. And then I saw Dreams when they did the E3 conference, and I was just like, this is it. This is the thing. This is the thing I've been waiting for, because I'm a nobody, and I don't know anybody. I don't have any ins and outs in anything. I have always wanted to, film is always my thing. But I was like, I can make something with this to at least do what I can with what I have. And so Dreams finally dropped, skipping a bunch of years from when we first heard about it to when it dropped. It dropped. I picked it up and head in the sand. I was in Dreams for, mind you, not knowing what the hell I'm doing So, so mind
Like
you,
most of us when we get dreams.
yeah, I knew nothing about anything, and I still didn't by the end of that, to be honest. But I've had this short film that I wanted to tell, and I was like, let me start out. I'm going to do this short film. So I fought tooth and nail for it. I made an entire feature film, and throughout the development of that, I was sending things over to my YouTube so that I could do kind of like a behind the scenes type thing, just little things I could put up on YouTube when I released it. Then I got a data corruption on my PS4 that literally erased everything.
See, this is why it's so important to save online. So
And
important.
I didn't realize that you could. I don't know why I didn't realize that you could, but I just didn't realize that you could. So I saved everything locally. And this is why I tell people all the time, save online. Because I lost an entire movie. Okay? I spent between 6 to 8 months working on a small film in Dreams and lost everything. Okay? So save your work. Okay? Save online.
Just to pause your story real quick, and sorry for pausing you. Do you still have that hard drive? Do you still have that PS4?
Yes.
Okay, there is a possibility that it's still there.
Oh, I know.
You can retrieve it, even though if it doesn't seem like it's there. It still can be there, and it could be retrieved.
I tried.
Oh, you tried? Okay.
Yes. No, it's not retrievable.
No. All right.
So all that was left, all I had after working on all of that was the little snippets that I had uploaded to YouTube. So I took the snippets from YouTube and I cut together a story as best I could. Like I ended up honestly like going, because I had the script for it. I ignored it. I was at a point where I was like, no, now you just get it done. You get it out to say that you do what you said you were going to do and just put out what you have. So I put it out. Not adhering to a script, like freestyling the entire thing. But overall, I was happy with what I did. And now it's time to redo it. And so it's kind of like my background thing now, where I just work on it little by little. It's been through 2 more redesigns. And while I'm not strong in certain aspects of Dreams, most of them, I still, find my way through it. And yeah. So after that, getting back to the fact that Dreams burned me, it took me a minute to warm back up to Dreams. As I'm sure y'all know, that's 8 months of, I mean this, like, I put my business on hold. I was just like, no, I've been waiting for this. This is the time. So I would wake up, make a pot of coffee, sit in front of the TV, work until about 8 o'clock at night, and then repeat. That's what I was doing for months. And most of it was just sculpting, trying to get everything out of, yeah. So anyway, so after that, Dreams and I had to go to counseling, and we ended up getting our relationship back together. And yeah, and now it's just, I've evolved into, just working on what I can work on. Everything doesn't have to be the opus. Everything doesn't have to be grand. Of course, I have a hard time anyway, because all my ideas are, I'm not saying they're good. All my ideas are grand. Like, I have
just big in scale.
Yeah, I have Kevin Costner complex. So, so yeah. And then my evolution is just, after everything, and I wasn't really up for working on my own thing, because I was still butthurt and salty. I just started working with other people on stuff that I didn't have the reins on. It was just, I come in, I do what I'm supposed to do. You give me voice lines, I'll get the voice lines out. You do all that stuff, I'll just get it out. And then it was just like, I'm done. And now it's going into more of me kind of getting back to the fun of Dreams and just working on things I'm not good at, taking a small step into things like logic and music production and stuff like that, all of which I'm terrible at. And yeah, and that's been my journey through dreams. It's just getting to the point where I just every day I get to look at Twitter and the Dreamiverse and see all the amazing things that people are making. And it's the, as we always say, it's the best community and the most righteous fuel to just see people just really striving and trying and pushing out everything they can. And, you know, just really, it's just a venue for great stuff. And once I got to sit down with my my whiskey and really just get over how bad the first breakup was, it was, it's been nothing but good. I mean, there's been some rough, but it's been nothing but good. So
Yeah. I mean,
overall learning experience.
you mentioned that, like, you've been delving into music and stuff, like things that you wouldn't normally necessarily delve into. So with that in mind, is there an aspect of dreams that you just never thought you would be interested in, but like by using dreams, you've gone into that, and now you have a new aspect of creation that you like and do that you necessarily wouldn't have thought you would have done prior to using dreams?
Oh, it has to be the pixelated style flat
Yeah.
thing. That's kind of like my new love thing, because I can
Is it?
just
Oh, wow.
because it, like I said, I failed at it. It's not pixelated at all. It's not.
Well, I mean, to be fair, from
It's
the pictures that I've seen online, it looks the part. I mean, it looks like pixels. So
yeah. So I know but I've learned how to do it right now. But now I'm so far into how bad it looks
you've done it.
that I'm just like, I actually love it. I love that it looks this bad, and
But that's the
so
thing. Like, with anything artistic, though, you don't have to follow this certain road. That's what makes unique art styles in the first place, is by taking something and just doing it your way. There isn't a right way to do anything.
yeah. And so that's kind of the fun, is just get to it, man. Just do what you do, and if it's terrible, hey, be the king of Trash Mountain. I'm fine with that too. It doesn't matter. Like, just have fun.
So
So
is this going to be like a game or anything? Like, are you planning to do anything with this pixel stuff, or is it pretty much just a chill out thing, and what will be will be?
I do not know who, what, or why I am creating this thing. I don't. I really don't. Like, I started out with one thing and I was like, oh, well, this looks dumpy. And then I was like, okay, well, let me see about another picture. And I just kept going. And, and now it's like, Do Chat Not. It's such a weird name, but the dude is fantastic. He put up a video, I think about 2 weeks ago now, where he was saying, or he put together a tutorial for how to do pixelated art. And I saw the piece of the video where he was showing how to put them all into a dummy to like create the 2D look. And I
Mhm.
was like, and I was like, hey, that'll do. Let me see if I can now take that thing that I had just started doing
And
and,
incorporate it, yeah.
and make it work. And so through that, hopefully I'll learn how to integrate that logic stuff into that. And maybe there'll be a game. Maybe there'll be a game at some point, but I don't know. For now,
Interesting.
it's just Dumptown. And I took what I had, that first image, and I put it on a puppet just to see what it would look like, and it moves like South Park characters. And I just couldn't get enough. Like, I had started working just on my own. I was like, let me see if I can create a run cycle for this little
Yeah.
pixelated thing. And then after I put it like that one into the character and it started moving, I was like, screw a run cycle.
That's it. Done.
Yeah,
Done.
a run cycle could never be as good as the way this thing looks. It's so, to use the words of Willow the Bob, it's so dumpy. I was just like, this is perfect. And so, but on the screen right now is the things y'all are seeing from Good Place to Die, and all the redos I've like started working on and things like that. But yeah, so I would say it's the pixelated thing.
Wow, so something that's pretty recent, actually. It's interesting. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So, is there anything else that you're making that we can expect to see? Because I know you are working on a couple of projects. You know, is there anything that we can expect to see from yourself this year that's going to release?
Maybe.
Ooh, that sounds like we're not going to get much more about that, but just a maybe.
There's just so much stuff that, I mean, like I said, most people don't know where, I mean, like where I do my voice acting. Like a lot of people don't know I do it, and they don't know that they've heard it. One of my friends who I've known since the beginning of college, who is on Dreams, uh, of course I got him to get on Dreams, but you know, he was like, he's trying to make this infinite runner. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me get you in contact with Acert. He did the template. Maybe he can run it through with you. It'll
Mm,
be fun. And I was like, yeah, because I worked on doing Santa Dash 2, like the voice lines for
yes.
that.
Mm.
And he was like, that was you? And I was like, bro, you know me. Like it's just it's wild. So I mean, I'm sure there's a few projects that I know from other people that are releasing that are going to have uh, some pretty some pretty extensive voice work. So
Interesting.
yeah,
But is other than sort of voice work, are you working on any other personal projects that you've created yourself that has any intention of being released this year, or is it just this pixelated thing?
it's when I'm done. I don't want to tell people it's going to be out in some certain, because nobody knows what I'm working on. Like let's be real. Nobody knows what I'm working on. So like I'm not going to say anything is going to be out of real note, you know, but if I finish working on things, then oh god, here it is. Here it is. I was
Oh,
working with the 2D template.
oh wow.
Yeah, the 2D template
That
just
is
to like
that
try to
is
look.
perfect. So
But yeah,
you just attached this to the puppet and this is what it spitted out. It was like, here you go.
yeah. I mean, I
Without
messed
any
with the.
tweaks or anything,
Well,
or
I tweaked a little bit of the walk because there was some stuff that was getting on my nerves, but it was literally like plug it in, look at the settings, slide one thing, and then it was just like, okay, let's see how it looks. And and I just fell in love with this how just dumpy as hell it looks.
it is so South Park though. You are totally on the nail there. It is totally South Park.
Yeah, so I was just like, this is awesome. Like I love how it like can barely stay straight. And so it's just I laugh every time I do it. So I'm just like, I love it. Like I don't know what to tell you. I love it. So, you know, maybe if I end up doing something with this, maybe that'll be something I release, but like I said, I'm not even, most of the time I start from stories, uh, but I didn't start from a story with this one. It was just, let me try to make this thing. Oh, look, I created terribleness, and it was like, I love it. Let's go with it. Um, as I've talked about and shown multiple times in like online for people that follow me, like what you're seeing is like Battalion or Bot Alien, and that has a whole tie-in story to certain things I can't really go into, but it's just me throwing out a lot of concepts because this was the first thing that I wanted to be a 2D game. And then I was like, yeah, but as I keep looking at it, I don't know. And for those that don't know, I dropped a. Look at Jamie. He's still a little upset. He's still a little upset. But I
I'm not
dropped.
upset. I'm
But
not upset.
I hit up Jamie right before the new year, and I was like, I'm dropping Dino stuff. And he was like, "Well, what do you want to drop?" I was like, "I'm dropping whatever I want." And he was like, "You want to use some promo pictures and some other?" I'm like, "No, I'm just gonna drop it." So, guys, if you were paying attention, those images and those robots and stuff, well, that's from Dino. So
It's all
we're
Dino stuff.
yeah, we're still in the works. I just kind of just dropped it all out. So anyway, let's get back to your questions. I feel like
Mm.
I've been
Well,
blabbering.
let's change up the pace a little here because there's a question that I've wanted to ask you for a while now, but I thought I'll save it for the podcast. So, metaverse. It's the hot topic right now. It's what all
Who?
the the metaverse.
Oh
You know.
God. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's the way that the metaverse. I was like, the
Okay, well,
who now?
the metaverse, all right? The metaverse, yeah, is the hot topic right now. Do you know what I mean?
No, they
So,
might.
anyway, hold on. The
I love it.
metaverse,
I
is
love it.
that better? The metaverse? Is it better if I put a bit of American twang on it? The
No,
metaverse?
because you're still saying like it's MAYTA. Meta.
Oh, no, I don't say meta or it's the same as like
Metaverse.
beta. Like you don't say beta is better, do you?
No, but they're all
Yeah,
different
there you
words,
go.
bro. They're different words. Just look. I mean, we could go through many ways that language is terrible. Okay, but like, I mean, come on.
Well,
I
okay,
mean,
well,
just
right, hold on. All right.
though, and through, just for starters. Like, I mean, come on, bro.
Fine.
Anyway, the
Right.
metaverse.
The metaverse. I can't even get to the question. Right. The metaverse. Better? No? Okay. Well, anyway, these huge companies are going for this thing, the metaverse. You know, you got Facebook, you've got Roblox pumping millions and millions of dollars into this to be the first one to hit the secret sauce to create this huge new world online. Do you think, or do you even think that Dreams would be applicable for this? And the reason I say this is because I've been thinking about it with PSVR 2 coming out. You know, there is the possibility of them bringing out something like PlayStation Home. Because I feel like they really hit something with PlayStation Home, but it was way before its time. Like, I don't know about you, but I didn't really start playing games online until like maybe a year or two after PlayStation Home died. Like, I tried it when it first came out, but I just wasn't really that much into online play. So I feel like they was really before their time. And I've been thinking about it. And there is a huge possibility that you could have a new PlayStation Home and integrate Dreams into that PlayStation Home. So how do you
Okay.
feel about
Okay.
Dreams becoming part of the metaverse?
First of all, I'm not gonna have you sitting around here like I didn't propose this. I proposed this. When people,
Yeah.
if you go all the way back, I used to do a podcast called the Get Good Gaming Podcast, and I talked about what I would do if next gen, like for next gen consoles, and
Hmm.
my proposal was that basically Dreams and PlayStation Home would basically be the UI for the PS5. And you have it so that you can, like, the whole thing is an online experience. You have your apartment on the server that you load into that you can deck out with your achievements and everything you've
So
done in
this would be
gaming.
your This would be your menu. They get rid of the
Yes.
XMB. This
Yeah,
is your when you boot it up.
screw all that. You have a place in your
Okay.
home for everything you have. You can go outside of your apartment building and literally join into different servers and restaurants and all this other stuff so that you can communicate and just sit down and talk with people if you wanted to. Or if you wanted to go to the arcade, you could literally go to the arcade. Everybody that's standing around D2 could literally form their groups outside of the game and then go into the game and do it. And you could also just stay at home in your apartment and just start up a game like you would from the normal UI. Like, these are all, like, I proposed this. Everyone told me I was crazy. So if somebody's going to start talking about it now, I take umbrage. I was called
I'm not.
all sorts of things.
I'm not talking about it being like the PlayStation menu and being baked into the system. I mean, just literally a collaboration between PlayStation Home, if ever it was brought back, and Dreams,
Yes,
where
you're saying a combination of such to battle the metaverse. And I'm
yeah.
saying that if you're going to go that far, then you might as well take it off the top because take it to the extent I'm talking about. So because it's just it only makes sense. Like, it's just I digress. All I'm saying is I love the idea. Sure, bring back home. It needs to be a lot more. I mean, once again, I don't know anything about programming, so I can't tell anybody how easy or hard it is. But for me, it would seem as simple. As simple. Again, I'm a dummy. Don't listen to me. And, like, I would have already bought I probably would have already bought an engine from like Rockstar and just had a team building home again. Like, make it so that you can, like, you have the whole city. Everybody loads into servers for a different city. Your apartment's there. It may be a different city every time. You have your layout. Turn it into a whole experience. Because that's the thing that bothers me when most of these companies, like, they love saying content, experience, and what's the other key frame they always hit in every E3? Oh, God. It's content, experience, and... So, but they're like, we're trying to do a new experience. And it's like, bruh, they need to stop talking about that and then giving me squares on my home screen. It's just a different. I can't. You know what? I'm getting out.
You are really passionate about this.
I'm passionate about everything. If I take if I take the time to talk about something, I'm passionate about it. Because if somebody tried to talk to me about something I don't care about, I tell them get out of my face. I don't have time for that. I don't care what new shoes are out, okay? I don't care what whoever is a pop idol right now. I don't know who they are anymore. I'm old. Like, I don't care about them. If someone tries to talk to me about that, I will literally say no and walk away. I'm that guy. So, like, I'm just saying. Content, experiences, celebrity guests. You can't forget the celebrity guests. But how cool would it be if what I'm proposing existed and they did have a celebrity guest? How cool would it be if they were like, hey, we're going to do an AMA with Charlie No Name from Sony Accounting? I'd go to the bar down the street and sit back and have a digital drink with that guy. I'd be like, yo, what the finances look like? Like, I'd love to do that. But if you do that in something like Fortnite, I don't care. Like, I don't, it's like, to wrap this all back around into my whole, like, Comic-Con theory. Yes, I know I'm going off, but hear me out. The reason I don't like Comic-Cons and stuff like, oh man, if he pulls out those spreadsheets, wet. Anyway, the point is like, the reason I don't really have an affinity for like Comic-Cons and stuff like that is because I don't idolize anyone. Like, I want to meet people to talk about what they do, not because I want to be like, oh my God, could you please sign this? That's not me. If I can't sit down and like, I'd love to meet, I mean, who wouldn't, but I'd love to meet Robert Downey Jr. But if I meet Robert Downey Jr., it's not to thrust a poster in his face. I'd rather meet him by chance at a bar and be like, hey, can I buy you a drink? I want to talk to you about, your work over the years. I want it to be intimate, and so it's the same thing where it's like, if you're going to talk about experiences and stuff like that and creating brand new experiences and content and ways to engage the player, it's like, you got to switch the game up. Like, stop coming to me with a 2008 UI. And I'm not talking about just Sony. I'm talking about like everybody. Has anybody seen how terrible the UI for Amazon Prime Video is? Okay, I'm getting off topic.
No,
I'm sorry.
It is though. It was bad. It was like really, out of all of the UIs, like my favorite out of all of them is Netflix. I feel like they've really got it down to a fine art, but the Amazon one is just, it's a shit show.
Okay, Basket Snake in chat said, you want to switch the game up, release Dreams on PC. Hey, unlike most people who we've talked to about this over the course of this show, over the last 61 episodes or 62 episodes, like, I'm the person that agrees with you. I'm the person that's like, yo, put it on PC. And I think they will eventually, but it's just not coming yet. Now, I wish they'd throw it out now. I'd still play it on both. But also, because of the way the PC market is right now, I don't want to jump into that rant. But because of that, honestly, consoles are the way to go now.
Mm.
There's no point to spend 3 times for a GPU when you can get a $500 console, either one. But PlayStation, I mean, come on, guys, it's PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's the best
It's
now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the best right now. And I'm not. It's gone back and forth in the years. I'm just saying it's PlayStation's time right now. So, like, it. There's no reason to go out and pay that money when you can get something like Dreams that is literally like a whole console and the game for $510 instead of just a GPU that you might not be able to find and like a $2,300 to $2,700 computer. So I mean, right now, I understand them not putting it to PC or whatever. Like, but it'll come. It'll come.
I mean, just comparing the console against a GPU, that you can buy a PlayStation for 500. If you compare that with a GPU you can buy for 500, you are not going to get the same type of quality what the PS5 can handle and what that GPU can handle.
Oh,
Like you're not going to get ray tracing. You're not going to get 4K. It's just not going to happen with a £500 GPU. It's not. You're not going to get that at all.
I'm sorry, my lord. He said, "Let's flip it. Release the PC on Dreams." So, but see, this is the thing. Basket Snake, you said Game Pass says hello. That was the one thing that Microsoft did right, and I gave them credit for in older podcast. That was the thing I told them they did right, and they're proving that it is a very awesome play. However, almost the entire stack of Game Pass currently right now, I wouldn't trade, even though they did have a very good month. I would not trade it for the PS Plus. What do they call it?
Lineup.
PS Plus library. Like the
Oh,
thing, the collection. The PlayStation Plus collection. I'm sorry, but I had Game Pass for a while for my PC just to see what was on there. And I'm sorry, the quality just isn't the same yet. It will be, believe me, very soon. Xbox is going to start hitting real hard. But let's get back to Dreams. So go back to your.
All right. So moving on from the metaverse then.
Not metaverse.
You can't let go.
I love it. You think I'm just making fun of you, but I'm not. I love it. I love language. I love accents.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, other than external hardware support, because I know that the Wacom is the one thing that you want, but other than hardware support, what would be the one main thing that you would like to see added to Dreams?
Okay, I'm going to answer this and we're going to move on because I've said this too many times now on this show. I want an opacity slider for shapes.
That's your main thing.
For geometry. I really do. I have a sculpt that's been sitting in the winds now for like over half a year just because I don't have that. And it just doesn't look right trying to do it. Yeah, and it just doesn't look right when you try to do it with Fleck. Now, once they do the bake to paint thing, that might change it a little bit and give it a little more clarity. But I want a dome, not a snow globe. Okay, so I'm just saying, I'm very picky about specific things. This is why I'm doing pixel stuff where it looks like a turd, because I need to learn to just let it go.
Yeah,
like I need to let it go, and so I'm learning that. But a Wacom and the opacity to the geometry, that's what I want. Everything else I know they're working on. It'll be there when it gets there. Yes, I mean I know that, and I do agree with y'all that multiplayer is going to be a really big thing for Dreams and a push. It'll help me personally with friends who are trying to get into Dreams, but they kind of want me to walk it through with them, and I can't really do that effectively currently. It's like if it was just an open sandbox, a lot of like that a bunch of people can work in at once. It just I think I've seen that hold some people back. So anyway, glove controller for sculpting somehow. Lol.
Oh,
let me
boy.
take a screenshot and put it back in the scene, please. Yeah, we've talked about all this stuff. Insane Alpha Beta said, let me take a screenshot and put it back in the scene, please. Yeah, because I believe that's a function that's actually already in the game. They just didn't make
Yeah,
it so it can be implemented in
yeah.
that way.
I don't
Because
think that it. I don't think it would be difficult to put that in. And I mean, but I don't even understand, even if they have got it, like why they wouldn't release it anyway. Just add a piece of code that says that this particular image can't be in there when you make it live. Remove it, and then the product can go live. You know, I think it's something so simple. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I can't see it being that difficult to add that feature into Dreams.
yeah, but also the way around that for me is like certain things, like when I was rebuilding A Good Place to Die, it did kind of make it so it was like I couldn't have exactly what I wanted, but going to the Dreamiverse and seeing people who put all their time into paintings and, you know, stuff like that, it was good. Just to be like, okay, well, I'll take that painting and put it up on the wall, because I personally can't do it in the way that I don't have that handle on the controls like some people seem to, especially
Mm.
moves. Like, you know, I have high hopes for PSVR 2. Topaz Mackie, creator functions seem great to me. I wish they would release a free version on PlayStation just for players. I think we are going to see that very soon.
Yeah, I think they're working on a bunch of stuff, to be honest with you. I personally think that Dreams is inevitably going to end up being free,
The moment
like
they said that they were working on a
completely.
on a Game Pass, uh, uh, like a
Oh,
competitor to
yeah.
Game Pass, I
Mm.
was like, oh well, Dreams is the first thing on it. Like, it's just, like that's it just seemed like it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's what they're doing. I mean, take an in-game screenshot like we can now and put it physically in. Yeah, that's what I mean. You can make entire
Yeah.
environments as images like a lot of games. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Like, I'm not sure if I broke it down the same way, but yeah, that's what I mean. Because I'd hate the idea. Like, I've had nightmares, guys, about basically telling a story and being like, okay, I want the character to walk down the hall and I want you to see pictures of the relationship through different stages to create like a visual history without
Mhm.
having to tell the people. And then I thought about what would actually have, like, having to like actually draw those,
Mm.
and I threw up in my brain because that's just not something I can do effectively in Dreams without certain things. Like, as particular as I am about my designs, I'm also very particular about everything about them down to the line. Like, if my line isn't my line, I start to lose it it to the point where I could literally put my hand down on a piece of paper and make a line. And if that line's not right, no matter if I'm sketching and it's supposed to be sloppy, I'll erase it. Like, I'm very particular. So, like, that's why I want to Wacom, because I like integration, because it's like that's the only way I can think of that I would get it. Because I don't want a painterly look. I know that's what Dream specializes in for the most part. Not to say people haven't shown that you can do tons of things. They have. I just don't have the peripheral that makes that easy for me. And
Mm.
I mean, it's not easy, and I'm even playing around with that. Try to get better at it. Don't just complain. Try to get better. So, you know, but I know that would be a huge help for me personally.
All right. Well, moving on to my last question before I open up the table for you to discuss anything you want. You know, you're quite versed in film. You're versed in storytelling and writing scripts. So, you know, you have a history with this, so you can appreciate, you know, when you see a good film, you can appreciate how it's been made because, you know, you have that experience yourself. Has Dream sort of done that for you with games? Where now you've tried game development, you know, you've ventured into it and seen the intricacies of what it takes to make something work and be physically playable. Has it changed the way you perceive games when you see them now?
No. It was always difficult. No part of me ever thought it was easy. So it's
No, no,
proved.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that it was easy, but like for me, like when I'm playing a game now, and there's something small like just the way a character moves or the way a character picks up an item, like because of the experience with Dreams, and I know how difficult it can be to pull that off in the simplistic way that it's done. It just gives me so much more appreciation of how the developers did something the way they did it. That's what I mean.
I mean, I always had that appreciation. So it didn't really. it well, no, I don't want it to sound as if I'm like, no, it's always hard, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I've always appreciated it to its fullest because it's just I know that it's something that all you have to do to appreciate that stuff is to literally open one program that someone said they used to make it.
Mm.
So like if you're working in Maya, or if someone said, yeah, we use Maya, Unity, blah, 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 Unreal, just open those programs once. Try to do anything. And you'll get all the appreciation you need. So it didn't really change it for me. Like, but I've always been super appreciative of it. I know it's hard, and so I wouldn't say it changed my perception of that. Or deepened my respect for it. It's just kind of like, yeah, this is what I thought. This is
You see, I don't know. You see, for me, like, I've always had an appreciation for game development. Like, always. I always loved watching behind the scenes videos of how the game was made and stuff. But I think for me personally, until I had a go at Dreams to actually feel what it's like to build something, did I truly grasp, how difficult it is to do stuff in game development in general, like no matter what engine you use. And like one of the prime examples for me was last year, I played through Control. And there's a mechanic in Control where you can start to just levitate objects, but you can just, if there's no objects around, you can just rip a piece of concrete straight out the floor or from a pillar, like that's just standing there. And it doesn't matter where you do it, it just works. And like, after playing Dreams and trying to build stuff myself, just playing with that mechanic and seeing how that works really, I don't know, just opened my eyes to like understand how difficult it must have been to develop that mechanic into a game. I think it just gives a much more appreciation for how these people make the stuff that we sometimes take for granted in games.
Well, I'm just looking. There's a lot happening in chat. There's like a full blown conversation. But yeah, I mean,
okay.
I definitely get you. Like, that's it's. I don't know. I feel like you may think I'm like downplaying it or being like, but I'm really not trying to. It was just like, yeah, like I always had the appreciation, and I think someone said it. Who was it? Ninja. Ninja said you always appreciated the artistry, but now you sweat the technique. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. I really I don't know how else to answer that other than just, yeah, I thought it was hard. And it turns out it's hard.
You're like, well, I was right.
Yeah. And when I see what they've done, there wasn't like a point where I was like, I've never looked at something like even like this on right now, like even South Park, as by industry standard, as dumpy as that animation looks, no part of me ever said, "Oh, hey, making that episode is really easy."
Yeah,
it's just I don't have that in me. Like I know, and any artist knows, like while people usually only pay attention to the final product and don't appreciate everything you did to get there, yeah, it's always harder. It's always harder. It's always more technical. It's always more difficult. Like that's like so it's yeah, that's what I mean by it just didn't surprise me. It's just like it is what it is.
all right, so what's happening in chat? What's going on?
Well, Char said it's been an hour already, and I'm surprised by that. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Fun. Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. Enjoying it. So
I'm just trying to scroll up here to see where there's so much chat to go through. Very vicious. Oh no, that's the screenshot stuff. We went through that. So Char says that, Jeremy, I think the issue with that is what kind of dream screenshots could be added in the scene. Like if it's an IP or inappropriate content, then I think that's why hesitance on adding the feature. But then again, they could just give it the ability to people with a high enough level. Yeah, again, you could just do what I said though and allow screenshots to be used when you're dream sculpting, but when you go to publish it, they have to be removed, and that just solves all the problems. You can have a screenshot wherever you want in dream sculpting, but when it comes to publishing it, that has to be deleted, and then it can go live. Apart from that, though, let's see what else is going on.
Did I ever bring up how I like the people who were in like the Dreams beta, how like jealous I was of them because of things that they had that have since been like removed because people abused it? Like one of the ideas one of the ideas I had with the 2D character was I was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to do a music video and put up one of my original songs. You know, me and my guitar doing our thing." And I saw a video, and I think it was Clever Trev Gaming or Clev Trev Gaming. I forgot how he puts it out there, but like he did one where he did a song, and he just pressed record, played the song all the way through. It was like 3 minutes, and then like was like, yeah, and see now it's on there, and if I want to, I can add some other instrumentation and blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I can't do that anymore with my 30-second time limit. It was just like that knife just twisting right in the back. I was like, oh my God. I just want to get that like Jay and Silent Bob list of people who abused it and just fly all around the world. Just breaking my foot off. Anyway. So I just got so salty seeing that. I was because I don't trust myself in dreams to be able to splice things. Like it's like if I have the thing and it's like I'm using the audio importer, I'm uploading like 30 seconds.
That's what I was gonna say. You could just splice it and you, like, you know, you could still get it in there.
Yeah, I just feel like every time I've tried to do something like that before, it just never splices together the way I want it to. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe I get good. That's what I tell myself. Get good. The beta had quite a bit of unexplainable jank. I mean, I'm sure it did, but I also am pretty sure that it felt pretty magical to have the beta in your hands, especially with some of the things that you can no longer do. You know, just audio itself was a huge thing for me. But yeah, so I think for the 2D thing, I think the first thing I probably do with it is gonna be to try to make this music video, and so that's like the thing I'm pretty much focusing on right now.
So are you gonna recreate this original song in Dreams then, because of you don't wanting to splice it? Is that going to be the way you work around it, or
I don't know. I'm looking at all the ways now, because the thing is if it's me and my guitar, I have no qualms. When it's me and trying to use Dreams to put together music, I'm not the best.
Yeah, you see trying to do guitar in Dreams as well in any program is difficult.
Yeah,
it just seems to be one of those things that are just really difficult to replicate in a software. So maybe splicing is going to have to be the way you go.
Maybe, but either way, I'm like I said, I'm using it more so to just experiment with like pixel and 2D and you know, and just like I said, some people are like a lot of people, and including myself, they're getting real serious about dreams. And, you know, to an extent that can be stressful. It can shut you down creative wise. And so, you know, everything right now is about me just experimenting and getting back to the fun. And so I think that's something I can do that will get back to the fun. And y'all will, you know, hopefully eventually hear me play guitar and sing. So, you know, it is
That'd
what
be
it
nice.
is.
Is there any other topics you want to touch on before we close today?
We're closing already?
Yeah. I feel really bad, and I need to lay down.
Oh God!
No, I'm just gonna be up straight. I am feeling rough. I need to take some more pills. I need to go lay in my bed and just sleep it off. I think it's been rough. But anyway, Is there anything else you want to touch on before we close for today?
Well, I mean, we can go over the fact that we have a full roster for our next guest that are coming onto the show. Let me get to it real quick. But I put up, and I'll say it for people who may just be joining, but we've tried many ways to like get people to be kind of comfortable, confident in coming on the show. And my new way is the best one yet. I'm going to start posting numbers. One to like date by dates. Now I'm going to put up a line of dates. And if you want to be on the show, all you have to do is say the date. And I'm putting them up on Twitter. Our next shows, we have next week, we have Unleash Superhero Dreams, who, if you pay attention to Twitter, he's working on the Flash game. I'm going to be geeking out all over that. The Flash is my boy. So we have Unleash Superhero Dreams. On the 21st, we have the return of Felipe Duarte Pina. If you don't remember, he was the one that was teaching Dreams. And they've had their first graduates now from basically their first graduates from Dreams
from their course.
University. Yeah. So that's crazy. We want to have him back. We have Char coming on the week after that, the 28th. We got Lol Pokemans, who's going to be on February 4th. And we have Insane Alpha Beta, the return. On February 11th. And once we get towards the end of that list, I'm going to put up the next dates. All you have to do, you know what? I might put them up before that. I don't want to go too far out in case something happens. Yeah. But I'm going to put them up, and I'm just going to make a note. So if you don't follow me on Twitter at Mighty Vicious, simple, keep a lookout. I post the date. You want to be on the show? All you got to do is say, hey, that day, I'm there. And we're good. We're good.
No, and it can be anybody. Let's just reiterate, we're not just looking for people that create these huge, massive worlds and Dreams so we can talk about all stuff. You literally don't even have to create anything. You can just be a player of Dreams. Like, if you just play Dreams and you haven't made anything, would still love to have you on the show to talk about your experience with Dreams. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as it's Dreams related, we're more than happy to have anybody and everybody on the show.
Yes. So if you are like, yo, Dreams sucks, I'll talk to you. I love.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be positive. I would actually enjoy that. I would love to be able to hear someone's personal thoughts on why Dreams is bad, and then we can have our say why we think it's good. Like, I love those type of conversations. So yeah, if you know anyone that hates Dreams, tell them we're happy to have them on the show too.
Jet Yeti said, "Well, I don't use Twitter other than liking art, so I doubt I can join." Bro, I put it in the Discord, which I know you love. All you got to do is go on Discord, my guy. All you got to do is go on Discord. We got you. Let me see. Not the USB mic. Okay, they're talking about the recording. Can we pick a date as far off as November? I mean, we might have to reschedule it at some point. But if someone has like some wild out, I know I'm going to be free on this Friday, whenever. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we can book it with the exception of it might not be definite just because of how far out it is. But yeah.
Yeah. So, let me see here. Bruh. Jet Yeti, I love it. So yeah, I mean, are there any other questions? Because I said that we would open it up for people to ask me questions for this at the end of the show. So do y'all have any questions? Y'all have now seen a smorgasbord of things over here on this screen of things that I've been working on, and even some Dino stuff that wasn't supposed to be out yet. And so if y'all got any questions, let me know. This is the time. because Jamie is fading quick. So,
I am.
so we
I
need
am.
to.
I'm sorry. I would have liked to have gone for another hour or so, but I just don't think that my throat is going to continue to go the way it is. I'm going to start coughing soon.
Oh no! Oh no!
I know. I know. Do you know
Okay.
demo when?
Okay. I don't believe. Well, if you want, I can answer it.
Feel free.
Okay. Payoff, I don't think you were here the episode we talked about it, but Dino was put on hiatus. We're currently restructuring the entire project, and we will be back soon with more information as to what Dino will be and how it's going to be given to the masses once we get it done. So we'll talk about that more in the days to come. Did you have to bring out the whip to make Jamie let you release the Dino stuff? No, I woke up one morning and was like, yo, I need to get my mentals in right. And I hit up Jamie and was like, yo, I'm releasing stuff. And he was like, well, we can release some promo. I was like, nah, you can release the promo stuff. I'm releasing my character work. And that was it. And he was like, if you feel like you need it, get it done. And I was like, thanks, man. And put it out. So that's how that worked. It's pinned to my Twitter if you didn't see it, but it's also in this video. It passed by a minute ago. Do you have more plans for roundtables? Wait,
Yes.
I don't want to skip other people's questions. Hold on. How exactly would you get help with a creation or getting a small team together for a creation? I'm kind of leaning more towards what Lee's. If you're familiar with Lee's Lady, the way she did it was great if you stream. And I think there's a way to do it on social media where she just started working on it in front of everybody. And, people would come around and be like, hey, I can do a background. Do you want me to do a background for you? She was like, sure. It was like, hey, I can do that character model better and make it look more fluid. Do you mind if I do that? Like, hey, do it. I think it's just, and that's one of the reasons where I felt like I had to get out some Dino stuff, because everybody's in the Dreamiverse is working on God knows how many projects. And I think the best way to get people interested in working with you on yours is to show what you're doing, to show that you're doing something, and then they might be more interested in helping with it, or might be like, well, yeah, I can this. Like, let's say I post something and I'm like, guys, I cannot figure out how to get this logic to work for blah blah blah. If you're on Twitter and you're really part of the community, somebody's going to hit you back, tell you how to do it. If you still can't do it, you could probably turn around and just be like, hey, if I collabed you into this, can you do it? And most people would. We got some really helpful mofos out here, but it has to be specific. A lot of people aren't down for huge projects. Like, it's grating. It's giant. You need exactly the right person for that. And so the best way to get help is to let yourself be known in any way you can, and then to simply ask for it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, why Ledbetter, perfect example, hit me up earlier on, my doo-doo pixel, thing. And he was like, hey, if you want to get that over to me, I can try to rig it. I'm working on something similar. I mean, I'm going to give it to him. As soon as I get back on PlayStation, I'm going to give it to him and be like, hey, have fun. Make a little separate set for me. Make a set for him. Be like, play around with that set and do whatever you want. And whatever comes out of it, comes out of it. Like, I mean, that's like the way. I truly believe that's kind of the way now. How exactly would you... Oh, no, I just read that. Need a little space or logic to trigger it after loading. Wait, what?
Hold on, what?
Oh, and Wargarble said,
where
your
are
stuff is looking great, Mighty, honestly. Thank you. I'll never take your compliment, but I appreciate it. It's just the way my mind works. I love you, though. Wargarble, keep up everything that you do. You're amazing. Need a little space or logic to trigger it after loading. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but
No, I'm trying to find it in chat.
Oh, I think he's talking with Reddish Boat. But
okay.
and why Ledbetter said, my question is, did you send me that thing? No, I did not. Right after we finish the show, before I have to leave, I told y'all my schedule, but right after we finish the show, I'll jump on, I'll add you to that thing, and then you can make copies of all that and just work within the same scene. That it'll work out. I love you. Anyway, I'll get that to you right after we're done. Char, I don't know. Do you have more plans for roundtables? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We do, and I want some big ones because there are a lot of people who don't feel comfortable being on the show just because they're not comfortable with, just speaking about stuff like, with a bunch of people in the open. But, as I always tell people, we'll make you comfortable if you give us a chance. And so we have a lot of people that have hit us and been like, I would have loved to have been on that, that last roundtable y'all had. It was very interesting. I'm like, I keep telling people, all you had to do was show up. That one was literally if you want to be in it, just show up.
Just come into the Discord. That was like open invite.
Yeah. So it's just like, I get it. Not everybody's a loudmouth like me. And so, some people just don't have that same comfort. But I promise you, nobody's judging you here. Okay. Even me and my tone, I'm not judging you. It's just the way I sound. Are you guys getting Dreams 2? Lol. Yo, I'm telling you.
Whatever they bring out, I'll be buying it. Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I mean, I think if they were like, hey, we need to show that we can generate cash, we're going to put out another, like, the update, and the update's going to be called Dreams 2, and everybody pay $10, please. I'd buy it twice.
Yeah.
That's how much I believe in this product. Is like they literally could be asses about this product to me. And I'd probably still be like, yeah. But the product as it stands right now, even if they change nothing ever, of course they will, but even if they didn't, the possibilities of what already exists within Dreams is beyond anything that the gaming community deserved. That's how I feel. So I don't care if they want to charge me again for something. I've bought the game 8 times so far. I've given away the game more times. I've convinced 9 other people to play it. I bought a friend who was like, I want to get a PS5. And I was like, well, he found a PS5. It's the craziest story. He just walked into a Target. Like, this was like the first week of release. He just walked into a Target in Minnesota and there was a PS5 on the shelf.
What? That's insane.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, people would murder you for that chance.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
And he was like, yeah, just walked in and was there. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, somebody's shown you favor. But literally, after he got it, and he was like, he had some other stuff going on. So he was like, I don't really have the money to buy anything right now for it. And I was like, yo, here's $150. As long as you spend 15 of that on Dreams, buy whatever you want. And he's played around a little with the music. He really wants to do co-op because we do have a game we want to make, Hot Action Studs. But
you've mentioned this before. Yeah,
Hot Action Studs will live one day. But it's just, they could charge me whatever they want. They could actually just call me and be like, hey, can you spot us 50? I'll just throw it at them. I don't care.
Look, they could turn Dreams into a subservice, and I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I'd be like, whatever you want to keep this going, whatever you need to keep this going, if I can give it, you can have it.
Yeah. They just be like, hey, give us 20. I'd be like, yes, Zaddy. I'll do it right away, Zaddy. It's that easy. Be nice to be able to import several 30-second clips at once, though, because it's a little laborious this way. It is Reddish Boat. I agree.
Yeah.
Also, how exactly would you stop getting creative burnout from a creation that you've been working on for a while? Would it be having help or just doing a certain method? Step away from it.
Yeah, do something else.
step away from it
Mm.
because it's a lot of our culture is, you know, even The Rock hits like every morning he like tweets, "Time to rise and grind." Well, that's cool and all when you're making millions, but we don't make that, okay?
got that time.
We don't get paid to look like we were sculpted out of stone and baby oil. But you know, but that works for him. But for us, we out here grinding, and it takes a lot to do what we do. Like, even if you're bad at it, like me, it takes a lot to do what we do. And sometimes you just got to step away because it is not a race. It is not a race. It's not. You are moving at your own personal velocity. And I say this to you as someone who had lost track of that fact. It's not a race. So if you feel like you're getting burned out, go make a dumpy 8-bit character like me. Go try to make some music. Or how about this one? Just put the controller down. Just step away from dreams.
Just walk away.
Yeah. No, I mean, everybody out here is trying to create the next big thing. Some people put way more stock into like picks and, you know, and a lot of people put a lot of stock in like impies and stuff like that. You know, that stuff like that. Like, you put more pressure on yourself than most outside sources if you're an artist or a creator. You don't need that extra stress. So if you ever need to just step away, just step away. It's not like anyone's paying you for it. Like,
and it's also not like stepping away means you're never going to come back. Like, you know, just take a break. You know, you see it all the time on Twitter. Like, you know, loads of people in Dreamiverse saying, like, you know, I'm taking a break from dreams. I'm not going to be doing anything for the next 3 or 4 months, because it can be a lot, and it can sometimes overwhelm you and completely take over your life, especially if you're working on a huge project that requires a demanding amount of time. You know, that can become a second job without it being a second job. So you really need to have that work-life balance, because otherwise dreams becomes work and it becomes non-enjoyable. So just take a break, step back, do something else, come back with a fresh perspective, and it'll all be good.
Okay, Jay Yeti said, well, I streamed as well, but nothing really happened. Streaming is hard, bro. Like, I mean, I've gone over this in countless other, like, earlier episodes. Streaming is hard. It took me 6 years. 6 years to get to a point where, like, I found my niche, like, or niche, what I, like, figured I was good at, what I could do to interact, and what got interaction back. I mean, y'all may come here every other week and see that I might have 15 or currently 29 viewers. That didn't come overnight. Like, there was a lot of fail in that, and a lot. Way more than I'd be willing to admit. There's a lot. Streaming's hard, but put out there, don't fill up your Twitter account with going live, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no,
like,
please don't do that.
There has to be more than that, because people just see that and stroll right past. There's an art to all of this. So, I mean, don't give up. If you like streaming, then stream. You don't need a huge fan base or whatever to enjoy streaming. But, you know,
another thing to add to that is as well, as you have the benefit that you're streaming something niche. You know, dreams is considered niche streaming. It just is. People find it a niche thing to stream. So, you know, people in the Dreamiverse that love watching dreams on stream, they're going to find you, because there is only a certain amount of people. There's not hundreds of thousands of people streaming dreams like there is Call of Duty. You know, there's only a certain amount of people that stream dreams. So with you added to that roster, when someone is looking for something to watch dream related, they will find you. They will find you.
And even so, when it comes down to it, is do it. If that doesn't work, like you said, doubt people will try and help then with logic. Reach out to Lee's Lady, Acert, Tap Giles. Directly, DM them. Because I've never known them, or just other people that don't really put out there that they know logic, because they may not consider that their niche in dreams. People will help you. You just have to be a part, because you were the same one that said that you weren't on Twitter. Get on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean that's where it's at. Twitter is where Dreams is at. Like,
My
for communication.
yeah, my Twitter is 100% Dreams. It works. You may not be super comfortable in it, but it works. People will respond to you. Hell, Tap is always in my comments trying to help my silly butt. But, that's you have to get out there. See, that's the part with streaming that makes it hard, is it does become something that you dedicate your time to basically making it work. Like, until I got into Dreams, got on Twitter, started streaming, created the podcast, started opening up like to speak to creators, that's when a lot of people know. Like, if you're in our Discord, literally at somebody that you know works in Logic, and I bet you they'll help you. I mean, hell, even Vince Cully, he loves Logic. He'll do it. Like, you just got to reach out to people and do it directly.
I mean, Dreams is all about community, so you need to really put yourself as part of that community. You need to put the effort in, get a social media account, start adding people, start talking to people. It's what it's all about.
Let's see. Ninja said maybe they could send PS4 version to PS Plus as entry level, wider base, etc. Then PS5 is the premium product with a price tag. Get people hooked and think, oh my God, I need PS5. Word. I mean, I'm down for it. My friend picked up a PS5 in Target first week. You don't know them. They go to a different school in Canada. I feel dumb for waiting for a PS5 discount. Lol. I mean, hey. What it comes down to is you get it when you get it. Just like Dreams isn't a contest or a rush, no, neither is PS5. And I bet you, because I've already projected, I think they're going to come out with the newer version of the PS5, like the next upgraded version, like the Pro
the slim version.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Pro before Slim?
I mean the Pro. I bet you they're going to come out with the Pro. And a lot of people, once again, say I'm crazy about this. But I feel pretty strongly that they're going to come out with a Pro way before anybody thinks they will. Like, I'm talking by the end of next year. Like,
that's plausible.
Like, I really think they're going to do it. And I would be surprised, honestly, if we didn't hear rumors by the middle of this year. Like, I'm telling you,
wow.
I really do think that, because I think it's just going to be advantageous to them to do it because of the shortage. And once they start getting different parts and people are working on new ways to like take away the need for like the certain pieces that were making it hard, like, it's going to be a whole new console by the time if they do a refresh. So I think it's going to come a lot sooner than people think. Let me see here. I'm seeing if we can get. Yeah, we're almost at the end. Let me see where. Well, then, how would you stop yourself from scraping a creation because it's not looking or functioning the way you want, and starting over, or getting over the fact that your creation is not the way you want, but still releasing it? I mean, it's just a button. It's just a button, bro. Even if you release it, doesn't mean you can't re-release it. Doesn't mean you can't update it.
Yeah,
do it.
I mean, again, beauty of Dreams, you can update your games.
Yeah.
You can change the whole thing if you want to.
I mean, if I had gone back in with just the level of sculpting that I could do for A Good Place to Die at the time I did it, but without being like, oh, well, I can do it better now, I probably could have recreated it by now, but now I want to do it better, and this already exists. So now I can focus on doing it better, learning through other projects, and coming back when I can do it. So if you just don't want to put it out, but you're getting so fed up that you kind of think about scraping it, don't. Save as private online. That's first.
Make sure you do it online.
Just save private as online, because I know we've talked about it before. Save as private online and just leave it. Just put it away for a while. It's no hair off your back. Like, put it away for a while, and when you've learned what you can to come back and do it better, come back and do it better.
But just always remember, as an artist, you are always going to say you can do better. Always. Sure, you can grow. and you can get better, but don't let that stop you from releasing something. Don't let be the pinnacle of, well, I can do better, so I'm not going to release it. Don't fall into that space of, I need to improve it, I need to get better, it's not good enough. You're just always going to think like that. It's just artist syndrome.
Joe Ryan says end of next year would be over 3 years since PS5, so that's possible, to be honest. You know what? You're right. I'm going to change it. It'll be the end of this year.
Wow.
I forgot the year switched because I had made this statement a while back and I had said for the end of this year, but then when he said that, I was like, wait. Time, pandemic.
Jesus, it feels like I've only had my PS5 for 5 minutes. Like, damn, and there's going to be another one at the end of the year. That would be. I mean, it wouldn't really make much of a difference because, I mean, they're going to sell anyway. Like, if I sold mine to get the Pro, it's going to sell. But
Jet Yeti. Okay, so Jet Yeti said. Also, how would you be happy with a creation if you don't like it, or being proud that you made it even though you don't like that? Same way that I am happy about my Pixel thing. I can see every flaw in it. I can see how I screwed up. And that makes me better when I try to do it again. But dude, it's a creation that you're doing to learn. This is all experience in the bucket, man. So if you have trouble finding the happiness in what you created, I don't know. I think you might be at that point where you need to just walk away for a little bit.
It sounds like you're burnt out.
Yeah, because it's starting to sound with these questions like you are burned out, and you need to just I had to do it. Why do you think I disappeared for the last 2.5 weeks? I needed to step away. I needed to back out and just be like, hey, get your head on right. Don't touch or worry about dreams. Don't worry about the podcast. Don't worry about the scripts you're working on or where we are in the restarting of Dino. Don't pay attention to any of that. Just go have a holiday, which I didn't go anywhere. Not really. And but go have a holiday, watch some movies, get your zen back, throw out a few lines to people you haven't talked to, and I come back and I'm creating absolute gold bag garbage. And I'm enjoying it. So I think you just need to get a little perspective back. And sometimes you gotta step away for that. So
it definitely sounds like you've done way too much. Just move away. Just take a break. It's needed. Everybody has to have a break at some point. You can't just create and create and create and create. Everybody will hit a burnout at some point, and it sounds like you've hit yours. So, yeah, take a break. Chill for a bit.
And let's see. Alex says, also for games, you really need people to play your game, and when it's not finished, to test it because you can't think of how people are going to play it. And trust me, they always play the most unexpected way. I saw a really funny tweet about that. Somebody put up a video of how gamers play your test level. It was one of the funniest things ever. I wish it was like 2 months ago now, so I doubt I'd be able to find it. But it's just it's like a woman watching a person do one of the shape test, where it's you put the shape in the corresponding thing, but someone the person figured out that everything fit through the circle. So it's they'd look at it and they're about to put it in the triangle slot, but then they're like, oh, circle. Oh, circle. And they just keep putting everything through the circle. It is one of the funniest things ever. But yes, I've learned that while playing Dreams, because some people just, I don't know. People are definitely outside of the box when they get their hands on the sticks. So it's important to release an update listing the feedback so you can put alpha or beta or demo to prevent player. Yeah. Well, I haven't been that happy with the creation I've made for about 6 to 9 months, so I'm asking, how would you get over that while still creating? If you're not happy with the creation to that extent, I mean, Guys, I might have to do like a sitting with Dr. Vicious thing on this, because this sounds real psychological.
A dreams therapy session.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't, because I want to answer your question, but I feel like this is a much longer conversation than like the 5 minutes we were supposed to be stopping like 20 minutes ago. Because all I can say is, if you're unhappy with it and you don't like the direction you went with it at all, scrap it. Just
go again.
Just let it fall away into your line of my creations.
Oh boy.
Just let it get further and further down the line and start over. Work on whatever you want.
Look, I'm going to have to show mine at some point. There are so many failed attempts at everything. Like, that line just keeps going. It's just a full line of disappointment.
Insane Alpha Beta. Which would you rather make if you could only make one? Short films or movies? Movies, bro. Like
question
movies.
now. Yeah,
Movies.
that's it.
Like, for me to work in a short film format is torture. Like, I can do it, but like I said, Kevin Costner syndrome. My ideas, not good or bad, just my ideas, are huge. Like, that's just what they are. Like, their scale is ginormous. It's hard for me to not write in that scale, because I like to flesh things out. I like to flesh the world out. I like to get the emotions right. I like the scenes to be where the scenes need to be. I'll leave it up to an editor after the fact to see if it was really needed. But I'm probably going to be over his shoulder being like, what are you doing? Are you cutting out my scene, bro? Like, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's movies all the way. All the way. I have a personal Discord that I always tell people about. There's links to it and stuff, and the all types of stuff. And I'm sick of talking about links, but you can find it if you want it. And we talk about movies. We just watch stuff and type to each other about it. So if you're interested in that, hit me up, leave me a DM. I'll get you a link, because I still see people creating things all the time. So I was wondering how. Yeah. I mean, some people just don't have the hangups. And I'm not talking about your hangups. I mean mine. Like, I have extreme hangups. That's why I needed to step away. Because it's just like everything, because all my ideas, as I just finished explaining, have that scale and scope to them. When they're not done perfect, I already explained to you how I get about the shape of a line. Like, that's indicative of my whole process. So if something can't be done right, what I consider to be right, I start to shut down creatively, because I'm like, I just need to know how to do this. I need to do it. And I just start to, that sounds like where you're at, bro. You need to just leave it alone and go do something else.
You're in a loop. You're in a constant loop, and you just need to get out of that loop. Just walk away.
Yeah. Make something that will make you happy. There you go, Joe Ryan. You tell him. I've made over 100 different things and deleted most already. Hey.
You're not the first, and you won't be the last. Trust me.
Damn sure ain't. Insane Alpha Beta. Actually, better question. When does a short film become a movie? Once it exceeds 45 minutes.
That was very specific.
Yes. When I've been on a little dreams break myself after going crazy the last few weeks of 2021. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta step away, man. It's one of the most important things.
It's healthy for you. Like, it's unhealthy to not take a break. You just have to. I mean, all these devs take breaks. Media Molecule takes breaks. You have to. You just burn out otherwise.
Oh, and you said, so I know you say take a break that I've already have done for about a month. Month might not be long enough.
Yeah, you need more. For some people, it could be 2 days. For some people, it could be 3 weeks. For some people, it might be 6 months to a year. There is no specific time that is set that you need to take a break in order for this to be fixed. It's down to the individual person. And the only time you're going to know when you're ready to go back is when you are ready to go back. It's a very personal thing. You need to take this break yourself, reevaluate your situation, forget about dreams completely for a while, concentrate on something else, and then when the urge and desire comes back to get back into it, that's when you know it's time to go back.
Yeah, maybe pull out a notebook. Go old school. Pull out a notebook and write down and draw or sketch out everything that you don't like and what your plan is to fix it. But that whole time you're doing that, don't touch dreams.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Yeah, just move into another format where you can better say, okay, this is what I'm trying to create. This is where I failed in what I was trying to create. Now, what can I do to flesh this out to make sure that I don't have the same pitfalls? There's tons of things you can do to get
Look at
back
other
on the horse.
look at other people's stuff that's similar to what you're trying to create. See if they've made a tutorial to see if there's a different way of how they're developing it than you are. Do all of this stuff whilst staying off of dreams. That's the key part. You can do all of this stuff, but stay away from dreams while you're doing it. Give
Yeah.
yourself that time to just recharge your batteries. It's what you need.
But yeah, so basically, I don't want to keep going, and James he's really is sick.
Slowly deteriorating as time goes on. I am dying inside.
Yeah, he really is sick. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's shut it down. I appreciate everybody showing up for this episode.
Yeah, this has been good, and yeah, it's been great. It's great to be back. It's a new year. We've got a lot planned. Thank you for everybody for coming back with us for this first episode of the podcast. And yeah, we've got a lot of stuff planned for this year, and we hope to grow this podcast with you all and do some new exciting stuff and make it more entertaining. So glad you're all here for the ride.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna send y'all over to Lee's lady. She's working on some logic and stuff, and Jet Yeti, if you are sticking around, ask her for help. So we'll go ahead and let's see, start raid. And again, thank you for everyone coming through. We appreciate it. It's good to see you all in the new year. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing my dumpy work. So
We'll see you all next week.
Next week. Peace.
Bye.